Hello everyone, I am Mina and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I will be talking about my opinion on tracing and using references. So let's get right into it. First of all, what is tracing? Tracing is directly copying over another person's artwork, usually their line art. I do not believe tracing is inherently bad. I believe it can actually be a very useful tool in learning anatomy, developing your style, and improving your line work. Where I believe tracing crosses the line is when you claim others' artwork as your own when you traced over it and posted it on social media without credit to the original artist. There's nothing wrong with posting the artwork itself. It's when you don't give credit to the artist that made that artwork that you traced over. If you wish to show art pieces that you traced over, explicitly say that you traced over this artwork, give a link to the piece of artwork, and then credit the name of the creator. Therefore, you can still post the piece of art that maybe you're proud of how you colored, and the artist can still get credit for their work. Another downside to tracing is relying on it for far too long. Tracing is good for when you're starting to learn something, say a new learning style, you're learning new types of anatomy, or even learning new ways to color, but I do not recommend using it for long periods of time as it starts to become a crutch and therefore weakening your own strength as an artist. So I believe tracing, like any tool, is a very useful thing to have as an artist, and when used properly can be very helpful in your art journey. Now I want to move on to the subject of references, since I see a lot of people comment on how referencing is basically like tracing. First question we need to ask is, what is a reference? A reference is something you base your art from. An example of using references in art is this speed paint you see before you. In this speed paint, I use a reference photo of a black panther to then draw in my own style on my tablet. The reference photo allows me to see the darker parts to where to shade versus the lighter parts to where I would put lighting in, where the positions of the ears placed, the jawline, the nose, everything, so I can get proper anatomy, lighting, and shading. Now, references, unlike tracing, I don't believe can be a bad thing. In fact, I encourage all artists, beginner and advanced, to use references throughout their whole time as an artist. References have pretty much no downsides to them other than the limits that you put on yourself. References can be used to reference color, they can be used to reference lighting and shading, anatomy, line work, style, pretty much anything you're studying at the time, I would encourage using a reference for. Now, some people believe that using references counts as tracing, and while both tracing and using references can help you in very similar parts of your art, I find that tracing ends up becoming more of a crutch and less of a tool over time as you continue to use it. Using references, unlike tracing, does not keep you in this box that limits your creativity like tracing tends to. Instead, using references allows you to have a base foundation to run off of, but still gives you plenty of space for your imagination to take over. While I find tracing to be a very detrimental crutch to rely on that limits your imagination and what you can do with your art. Like I said earlier in the video, I do not believe that tracing is inherently bad. I just believe tracing has its time and place in art, and shouldn't be used for extended periods of time. In conclusion, references and tracing are both very viable tools in art. I just believe each have their time and place, ups and downs, pros and cons. That is it for today's video. Please leave a like if you liked it. Feel free to leave a dislike if you didn't like it. Please comment down below anything you would like to hear my opinion on or my advice on. I hope everyone has a good night and has a blessed day. Goodbye.